Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated, where today's a first. We have our first chef on the program. So Chef Michael Silverstein. So welcome, Michael.
Thank you so much. I'm honored. I hope I don't let the chef community down.
You're the first one.
Chefs can be real assholes. So like,
if it doesn't go well, this could be it. This could be it. If it goes well, though, it could be a whole series.
Yeah, that's true.
No, this is going to be great. I'm so excited to
you.
Talk to you for a couple of reasons. One, you're actually from my end of the country. You're from the Pittsburgh area, correct?
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's right. Actually, just moved about a year ago. Weird year to move, but that's a topic for another day. 2020 is weird for everybody.
I will forgive you from being from Pittsburgh because we're big rivals.
It's true. It's true.
Well, it depends because everybody's a Steeler fan.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. Are you still a Steelers fan? Because a lot of West Virginians are.
Yeah. Strangely enough, I'm a Raiders fan, and there's no real reason for that. I was a Jim Plunkett fan, and then you had Tecmo Bowl, with Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen and stuff. So I was kind of a Raiders fan. It was strange enough, but the majority of the area, Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, I still see people wearing
Steelers.
I still see people here in Texas wearing Steelers jerseys daily. I'll never fully understand the Steelers nation. In that regard.
But they're having a good year.
Yeah,
rough week, but a good year.
Yeah. I've been to a few games, and I do miss the Austin's not a sports town. I mean, it is for Texas, for college.
Right.
We don't have an NFL team. It's just not the same energy. I miss that about Pittsburgh.
Food and music.
Yeah. Food and music. Yeah.
People
go crazy. People go crazy for the UT games, no doubt. I mean, that's
for sure.
A religion here.
Yeah.
But that's about it in sports. Like, it's not Pittsburgh is a sports town to the core.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're loaded up. I mean, they've got every sport. Every sport has a franchise there. So I mean, they're loaded with
for sure.
And it's one of those where they're the border states in this area. I mean, there's just not as many options professional sports wise as a lot of the country has. So so Pittsburgh, they get a lot of love from this area.
And I'm not really a sports guy, but there is something about being at the stadium, the kind of the feeling of the crowd. Like, I've been to stadiums, I've done sports in a few places, but there's something particular about Steelers Stadium, the energy of the crowd.
Yeah.
It's like infectious. Like, people are they live for it, and it's just wild. They live for it.
Did you paint up for the games?
No, I'm not that. I'm not. No. Like I said, I more just go for the beer and stuff. I'm not super into sports. It's just fun. It's just a good time.
It's just fun.
Hell, I've been to a bunch of Pirates games when they're the worst season in the league, and half the stadium's empty, and I'm still sitting there. There's like a section at Pirates Stadium where you can get like all you can eat hot dogs and stuff. Like, those were the days. Man.
That's a nice stadium too.
Beautiful, overlooking Pittsburgh downtown.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Don't ask me any sports trivia because I don't.
No, I won't. I won't hit you with any. I won't hit you with any sporks. I got food questions.
There you go. That's more in my lane.
Let's start here because I think it's a really fascinating story. What prompted you to get into the food business? Because that isn't always where you started, right? I mean, you were kind of interested in some other things, and it kind of led you.
I've bounced in and out. I've always loved to cook. I cooked a lot as a kid, and my mom's a great cook. And even as a little kid, I always loved cooking. I didn't necessarily always find myself in the cooking industry. I have worked in restaurants since I'm a kid. My first job was in an Italian restaurant, and from there, I've worked in restaurants, both front and back of house, through my 20s. But I've also dabbled in a few other things. It's a rough lifestyle to work in the food industry, coming home.
It's hard work.
13, 16-hour days on your feet, and it's crap money. It's not easy. And anybody who does it at any job in the restaurant industry, I have so much respect for them. Servers,
Yeah.
bartenders, busboys, chefs, you name it. It is a lifestyle that takes a tremendous amount of strength.
You almost
dealing
have
with,
to love it, right?
yeah, you have to love it. And so yeah, I I found myself ready to try something else when I was about 25. I left
Yeah.
the food industry to do some real estate. Fell into real estate. I actually fell in love with that too. I love building. I love kind of getting my hands dirty. So in a different way, like creating, design, renovating a
Right.
home felt a little bit like food, and that I'm kind of taking something and creating out of it. So I found a home there too, no
I
pun
like
intended.
that.
And then a few years ago, maybe about 2 years ago now, I tried out for MasterChef kind of by accident. I was pushed into it as kind of a joke. Next thing you know, I'm getting a phone call that Gordon Ramsay's assistant or whatever wants me to cook for them in New York City. And like, it just took off in a way that I really wasn't expecting. And
What was that phone call like? I mean, that had to be nerve wracking.
yeah, and they gave me no time. I was like, it's just an unknown number from LA or something, from California. I answer it and they're like, can you be in New York City in 2 days to cook for Gordon Ramsay's like culinary?
No
What?
problem.
Oh, by the way, we'll have no kitchen for you. So you got to come with your dish. I'm like, how am I supposed to drive with food
Yeah.
and not like presenting it like on a freaking picnic? Like it's for Gordon Ramsay's chefs. Like,
How
well,
did
we
you
won't
do
blame.
that?
They just said, well, we won't blame you if it's cold, but make sure it's good. So I
Okay.
did. I brought a cold dish in a cooler. It wasn't a cold dish, but I just brought it in a cooler and plated it up, and said it was fantastic. I made some duck, did a sous vide duck and roasted beets and this goat cheese mousse, and um,
And that
so
traveled?
yeah, apparently, apparently, they loved it. He said I knocked it out of the park, were his words. So yeah, next thing you know, I'm flying to LA, and life kind of took a funny turn from there.
Yeah,
So
right. That's just so amazing. So what was he like? Because he's got a
oh
little
man,
bit of a persona.
yeah. Well, in the kitchen, he's what you see on TV. I mean, the guy doesn't play around. He
Right.
takes whether on camera or not, he's the same in regards to the cooking. What you don't see on camera is how unbelievably warm and loving and just sweet the guy is. You think of these celebrities, and he's coming on a big TV set. There's probably 80 workers, but he'll like walk by like a random wardrobe person and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, how was your kid's birthday party?" Like that
Oh,
guy is
wow.
just unreal. Like, he still checks in on me. He like, we're still in contact. He's unbelievably supportive.
That's amazing.
And just a really nice guy. I'll be honest. And if you watch some of his Instagram stuff where he kind of shows some of his day to day, where he's like interacting with his kids and his
Yeah.
dogs and stuff, he's a big softie. But in the kitchen, it is no joke. I mean, he's a real tough ass. that
See,
stuff is real.
I think I've got a show idea for him. All right. So you got to help me out with this.
I'll tell him.
I am a terrible cook. I do not live in the kitchen. I live beside the kitchen.
Sure.
You're gonna cook something, I'll eat it. Terrible cook. Me and Gordon need to do a show together. And it's going to be him trying to teach me to cook. And he can give me the full experience. I might cry a little.
Look, there is a show on Food Network. I think it's called Worst Cooks in America. So.
I've seen it. I'm not quite, I don't think I'm quite that bad.
I doubt
terrible cooks.
No, I doubt it.
Show.
I doubt it. Yeah.
It's pretty rough.
They obviously look for the worst. I mean, really.
Yeah.
The worst.
It's pretty rough. Rough.
So actually, I know a girl who's on my season of MasterChef who years and years ago tried out for Worst Cooks in America. She's a home cook and really improved her life. And then next thing you know, she like was in the top 5, I think, on the season, and she kicked ass.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, you can learn. Nobody's nobody's a bad cook. It's just whether you can learn it.
That's right. It's like anything else. You got to put the time into it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Playing an instrument, being anything. I mean, it takes a little bit of work, but nobody can I truly believe that anybody can cook if you're willing to take a risk and try it.
And put the time in. So you went to New York, then they fly you to LA. You get on MasterChef, which is a terrific show, and you did really well. You didn't quite win,
Didn't win.
but you lasted a while.
Yeah. I think well, I don't know if I should spoil it, but it's been out. But I think
It's been out. Shame on them. Spoilers, but shame on them. They haven't watched it.
It's still not good internet etiquette to reveal spoilers. So I won't give specifics because it is still on Hulu for anybody who wants.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But no, I didn't do too bad. If you watch people who've watched the season know I got real screwed up on a group challenge. So a lot of people, if you read the Reddits and stuff, which is another discussion, a lot of people felt like I was robbed. And
you were robbed. I'm on that side.
Yeah, I'll go with that. But truth is, it doesn't matter. I was shocked that I even made it anyway. I mean, to me, I'm just grateful for any of it because it's all a little freaking crazy to me. So I got further than I ever would have thought. And it started with like 20,000 people that they round down basically in halves. So like half, then it's 10,000, there's 5, and they just keep cutting it in half. Even when I went to LA, they started with 80, then it was half to 40, then it was half to 20. And so it's basically a giant national cooking competition. You just only see the last 20 on air.
Yeah, that's amazing. So that's a ton of people.
It's just a giant competition. Yeah.
They don't bring 20,000 people to New York, do they?
They do city auditions. So it's kind of like American Idol or something where people like line up. So I think it was in 8 or 10 cities. And each of those have, whatever, some hundreds of thousands of people show up, hundreds or thousands, not hundreds of thousands, show up in each city. So they were in like New York, Chicago. I don't remember. But I was invited. So it was a little different because they sort of select. That's why I said it was kind of like a weird thing where I sort of like submitted my name and they invited me to New York. So I didn't really have to audition the same way. I had a little bit of a different process. But
that's even if it ended there, that's still a pretty
every time I was shocked every time I got to the next cut. Like I got through the next cut, I was shocked every time.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you've got a new cookbook out.
I do.
Yeah, just came out.
Yeah, it just came out. December 8th it came out. I actually have a copy here.
I was gonna say, do you have it there? So new keto cooking.
I do. I'm trying to get the lighting right, but new keto cooking. And it's really kind of taking a new approach to keto where it doesn't feel like diet food. It doesn't feel like, this sort of like fad weight loss thing, it's really just about really good restaurant quality food that anyone can make at home. And that's really what I set out to do as a chef. Like, I don't want to put out food that's not just delicious. If you want to use keto to lose weight, you want to use keto for other reasons, that's great. But I think it really just centers around just like delicious food that happens to not really have flour or sugar in it. So it's a little bit more conscious of eating well, but without such a diet heavy vibe.
I love the idea because that's the issue with all diets is it's so difficult to find just good tasting food. You have to put up with a lot for most diets.
Yeah, I think that's why most people fall off their diets because they, it feels like you're suffering. You're counting calories, you're counting points or whatever, and you're just like, you hate it. Nobody, I love to eat. I'm in the kitchen all the time. I'm not going to sit around and like eat like a rabbit the rest of my life and suffer. Like I want to eat.
That's right. You want to eat.
I want to eat a good steak. I want all that. Like,
what made you choose keto?
Exactly what we're saying. I think keto fit best for me because, I can still eat the good stuff and what's good for me. And maybe that it doesn't apply to everybody, but like, I love meat and vegetables. That's the truth. I love meat and vegetables and I can still do that. You're not really supposed to have potatoes and a couple of the starchy vegetables, but pretty much all the good stuff, you can still eat it all. You can grill out, you can do all the things that I want to do. And as a chef, it gives me a lot of freedom. There's very few rules in keto. I like to think, I know there's a lot of kind of misconceptions and a lot of arbitrary rules around like, oh, you can't have any fruit or you can't have any
Right.
X, Y, and Z. There's people who have a little bit of sweet potatoes or a little bit of fruit here and there. And I have recipes in the book that have certain things in it. So if you're very strictly keto, and there are people who are keto for medical reasons, for like epilepsy and fighting
Sure.
cancers and all kinds of things, some of that gets a lot more strict where you are medically using ketones, and it's a whole metabolic process.
Right.
I am not a nutritionist. I just want to eat good stuff. So that's what I wanted to put out for you. And I hope I've done it. I mean, I hope I've done it. I've included
Well, just some of the recipes just sound delicious. I have done keto.
Thanks.
It's been a few years, but
Yeah.
we did keto for I don't know. We lasted about 3 months, and
Mhm.
it's as skinny as I've ever been. But one of the issues I had with it, other than the fact that I just got tired of Thanksgiving's what screwed me up. We got to Thanksgiving, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to eat Thanksgiving. But other than the flavors or kind of the repetitiveness, it was an energy thing. I struggled with when I started losing weight, just keeping my energy up. So do you address any of that with the food? Does it help with that?
I have found the opposite. I've never felt better than on keto. I'm
Yeah.
like, I wake up alive and just like with tons of energy. I think it
See, I
depends
was doing it
person to
wrong.
person. I don't know. I don't know what you were doing, but I think, look, I'm not here preaching anything, right? So like,
Yeah.
it may not be for everybody. Like, you know what I mean? It just may not
Well,
be.
sure.
There's people who do a lot better on, you know, plant-based or what. There's so many things.
Right.
So, I do not think that keto is this miracle one, magical pill for everybody. But
Right.
for me, like within 2 weeks of starting keto, I felt like I was alive for the first time, to be honest. It sounds corny, but I'm not kidding. Like I don't think I'll ever not be keto.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome. Well, you
it
hear that
just,
a lot. I mean, once you find that diet that kind of works best for you,
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of people do that. Whatever it is, they'll stick with that because of the way it makes them feel.
yeah. And I like that, like, I can pretty much eat as much as I want. Um, within reason.
Right.
Whereas like a lot of other diets, you're kind of like counting, you're really like small, tiny
Oh
portions
yeah.
and stuff. And I
Yeah.
do like that about keto. And I think that's why I have a lot of energy, because I can still eat real stuff. Um, with just a few kind of exceptions. Obviously I'm not having bread or
Yeah.
potatoes, but still eating real stuff. I'll also say for the availability of keto options and ingredients now is just in the last year, but especially in the last 2 years, has vastly changed. 2.5 years ago when I
Right.
started, it was like you had to order any of these like non-flour like baking alternatives and all
Yeah.
that online. And now it's like you walk in any grocery store and you can find like allulose sweetener, almond flour, now at Costco and every grocery store, things that like make keto a lot easier. Now you can buy like all these different baking mixes, like brownies and cookies and stuff, like, where you just add the egg and the oil, just
Yeah.
like,
You see it everywhere now.
yeah, there's so much more availability for just finding something that
Right.
lets you stay keto. And like, I think that's really different. 2 years ago, I couldn't find keto bread. Now I can walk into Aldi or whatever and find a loaf of keto bread or keto tortillas and stuff at these grocery stores. That's all just within the last year or two. So I think it's easier now to be keto than it's ever been.
Right. No, completely agree. So I'm celiac, have been for
Mm-hmm.
that I know of for about 20 years. 20 years ago, I mean, there was no help.
Right,
Nothing was
right.
labeled. There was no options to buy at the store. It
Now
was,
even restaurants will have the GF
yeah, it's
on the
it's
menu,
it's
and yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
I've been pretty. The first year or two was pretty rough, but after that, I've been gluten free and haven't had any issues with it because there's so many options out there. And keto's the same way. A few years ago, you would really struggle to find anything that would help you, but now it's just another item that you're buying at the store. You
yeah.
just go and you
Even
shop that way.
and you see big brands like Sweet Baby Ray's now has like
Yeah.
sugar-free barbecue sauce on the shelf at Target. And, you know, it's like, it's a different world than it used to be, I think, which is good because I don't care if you're keto or not. A little less sugar in all of our diets is probably smart.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure,
You
for
know,
sure.
or a little less flour, a little less gluten. That like no one can argue that that wouldn't help everybody a little bit,
That's
you
right.
know?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of that's all that stuff. Kind of is good in very moderate amounts.
Yeah, for sure. And I still cheat here and there on my birthday. I'm getting birthday cake and stuff. Like, you know, you got to live life
Gotta live life. That's
within,
right.
gotta live life, you know,
So,
within
so I got a
reason.
couple questions that are food related. So,
Yeah.
I saw that you've got a chimichurri sauce, but it has a twist to it. So I wanted to know what's the twist.
Aha. It's a chipotle chimichurri.
Oh man,
Spicy, smoky. So I mean, it's kind of like a standard chimichurri, except that I'm adding chipotle peppers from the can, so they're cheap and easy to find.
that's
And
a great
man,
twist.
it just gives it a kick. It's awesome. It turns it red.
Yeah.
And it's awesome, man. I throw it on steak, chicken, anything, and it's cool because you don't have to cook the sauce. You just like it's like pesto or something. You just quickly blitz it up in a blender
Yeah.
or whatever. And
What made you think of that? Because I love that.
I don't know. Like I just like things come in my head. Sometimes in my sleep, I just want to eat good food. So like sometimes I'll just be in my cabinet and see a can of chipotle peppers and be like,
I wonder what I could do with those.
yeah, that could be fun. I mean, look, a lot of it too is trial and error. Not everything's coming. You know, like sometimes I'm like, no, that's not going to work. Let's throw that one away. You know, I'm not. You know, I'm human.
Yeah, well, that's right. You got to try it. You
Yeah,
got to try that stuff out. So the other one I was curious about was I'm not big. You know, the big trend now is they're making everything with cauliflower.
Cauliflower.
I'm not a cauliflower fan. So
I'll
do
be
you
honest,
have
me neither.
other? Yeah, do you have other options other than cauliflower?
Yeah. So I too do not really like cauliflower rice. You
Yeah,
see that everywhere. I like regular, like I like roasting cauliflower just as
yeah,
its
that's
own.
right. That's right.
On its own, but I don't like when cauliflower tries to be other
Yes.
things. Like cauliflower pizza crust is not my thing.
Yeah.
So in the book, I did a mashed potato, but I did it with celery root, which
Oh
is, or
wow.
celeriac, sometimes it's called.
Yeah.
It is this ugly looking root vegetable, but it's like, you don't know it exists, but it's at the grocery store, usually by the beets and stuff. It's just one of those roots. And you just boil it up like you would potatoes and mash
Yeah.
it. I swear to you, nobody even know. Like I serve it to non-keto people constantly, don't even know it's not potato, or if they do, they still love it. Or I've even had people say this is better than mashed potatoes. So there are these little tips and tricks. You can
Yeah.
find weird things. I did a pot
I would
roast
love
recipe that used radishes. When you slow cook radishes, they kind of end up tasting like potatoes too. So there's
Really?
a few little tips, and I hate, actually it's one of the very few foods I don't like is raw radish.
Right.
But it's awesome in a pot roast. So there's little tips and tricks. So yeah, celery root is a strange but really cool vegetable that you can use to base it instead of potato. And it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah. That's good.
cauliflower.
Yeah. It's not
Cauliflower
cauliflower.
gets kind of wet and like
It
watery.
does.
It's not my thing.
They call it rice, but it's not rice.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's not.
Do you have a favorite recipe in your book?
Oh gosh, a singular favorite that nobody's ever asked me that before. That's going to be your toughest question of the day for me.
That's what I do. You know, I'm a professional.
You
I bring the hard questions.
Look, I'm not actually like a crazy sweet guy. So for me, developing the desserts was the least comfortable for me.
Okay.
I don't really consider myself a baker per se. So the desserts I put extra effort in because it's not so natural for me. And there is one dessert, it's a simple buttery pound cake. But let me tell you, you need to try it too because it's gluten-free. It
I'm in
is
on that.
wild delicious. Like it is just so good. And I don't say that about my own food easily. I'm very self-critical, and you know, I think you'll find most chefs are that your dish
Yeah.
can always be better, always. a pinch of salt or a little this like texture, all these things. Chefs are constantly playing with all of these balances of flavors and textures and cooking methods, but this pound cake is good. I might be able to find a picture, but it's probably it's certainly my favorite
You had me at
dessert.
buttery.
It's good. Now I want to find it and look at it. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, let's look at this.
I
Oh
don't know if you
man,
can see it, but it is.
I was gonna say that looks like it'd be good with coffee.
It's not showing. Yeah, look, I even put it with coffee right in the picture.
Yeah.
you nailed it. That's a really good one. Honestly, it's a good place to start. So I'll make sure you.
I like to.
I'm gonna stay on you. Make sure you do it.
I'm doing it. I like that you said that chefs are so critical. We've actually got a good friend of ours that's staying with us, and she's a chef, so she's been cooking because she's here, and so she's cooking all the time, and everything she makes is just delicious. Right. She hasn't liked one thing that she has made us yet. She is so critical of the things she's making. I'm like, what are you talking about? This, it's like everything I'm eating, I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten, and she is not.
I'm telling you, I believe it. It's such a thing. Like, I get as confident as I am, generally speaking, with all, even a close friend will come over for dinner and I am instantly nervous. Even still, I do private chef stuff here in Austin. So I do some like private events and work with some, work with individual clients.
Yeah.
And I'll never not always have 1 ounce of like, is this okay? Is this good? Like, I get it. It is a
That's
thing.
Stressful.
It can always be better. Yeah, it is. But I just feel like any dish can be better. I don't care if you're Gordon Ramsay. Any dish can be better all the time. It's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how to compare it. Maybe a musician feels this way. Like you could always get a little better, whatever And I think that's kind of the art side of cooking, where like, you really just constantly trying to refine and improve and hone your, sharpen your own knife, so to speak. And I don't think I'll ever stop trying to learn and keep pushing myself in food, no matter where this all takes me.
Yeah, that's awesome that you have such a passion for it that you just want to get better. I love that. So where did you go to school for cooking?
No, not culinary trained.
That's amazing.
And I was super nervous about that when I first started getting on TV and stuff, but actually I would say maybe half of chefs have been to culinary school. It's like you can kind of take two paths, sort of the apprentice path where you're just learning by doing,
right,
or the culinary path. And it's two different paths, but the point is, as we were just saying, the point is just learning constantly. And paying attention and absorbing and constantly growing. I think as soon as a chef thinks that they're amazing, it's over for them. They get comfortable. I've seen that with a lot of restaurants in the industry. Not this year. This year's just horrible for the restaurant industry.
Brutal.
But you see these restaurants where they win all these awards and they kind of like put it on cruise control, and then a couple years later they're gone because they got comfortable.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right. You see that a lot. Like you go in when a restaurant first opens up and you're like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite restaurant.
Yeah.
And then over time, you're just like, what happened?
Yeah. A year later, whatever, it just kind of lost its like punch,
Do you have any plans at some point to try to open a restaurant?
Yeah, absolutely. That's been a goal of mine my whole life. So I had actually looked, I haven't really told anybody this, but I had actually looked at some real estate here in Austin to rent for potentially opening a restaurant. Originally, that was my plan, but among other things, COVID has destroyed so many industries. And in some ways, I kind of look at it that I was really fortunate that I didn't sign a lease.
Right. Yeah. You dodged a little bit of a bullet there.
Although a little bit,
there'll be some opportunity coming, I think, in the next year or two.
But I'm definitely, that is definitely my goal and a next step. I mean, I would love to keep writing books as well. It was an amazing experience, and it's kind of just like a dream come true for me to be able to share my food in print. So I hope to work on another book soon if everything keeps going, well. But
Yeah, that's awesome.
definitely ultimate goal, have a restaurant, have several restaurants, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Start branching out. We need some stuff here.
Yeah, for sure.
We're West Virginia, and is we struggle with getting quality restaurants in the area, and especially now because some of the good ones that we had have went out because of this year. So it's
It's
difficult.
only worse.
We
Yeah.
we talk a lot about if you go on the West Coast or the East Coast,
New York or
there's
whatever, right?
there's restaurants just everywhere, and there's a ton of good ones, but we just don't have that here. You get a
Yeah.
couple options and they're okay, and just that would be something that we
Yeah.
talk about a lot. We'd love to facilitate and bring people in.
Yeah. And chain restaurants have made it even harder over the last
Definitely.
20 years or whatever, because they have a
Because that's not what
system
you
and
want.
not all the time. I mean,
no, and that's right. That's something you do on occasion, but that's not what you want.
yeah, yeah. No, you're right. I mean, the smaller the town, it's just only that much harder. It's hard for restaurateurs too, because
That's right.
in the smaller the town or the more sort of distant they are from these big cities, it's hard to bring in the crowds they need. It is such a tough industry in regards to actually making profit. Even when you see these restaurants who have these prices that are insanely high, but then in the back they have 40 chefs. I mean, no matter how you structure it, it is hard to make money in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's just brutal.
Tough industry. Yeah, it's really tough.
Even with private chefing, I've had people kind of struggle with the minimum prices and stuff like that. But it's like, when you start breaking down cost for clients,
right?
I've done events that were, 4-figure events, but then I'm coming home at the end with $200 for like 4 days of work, and not on purpose, but you end up, by the time you get the ingredients and you have to transport all the equipment. I've had to bring in help sometimes for the larger groups, and it is tough. The food industry is tough. I have
it's probably a learning curve too.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I have colleagues who do everything from private chefs to meal prep to, working in restaurants. And it is just one of the most challenging industries, I think, to work in. And then this year obviously is just destroying. I mean, it's painful.
I know this. I hope we're getting past that.
It's
restaurants probably been. I told you my wife works for Live Nation, and they lost 98% of their business. But the entertainment industry, the food industry, probably the hardest hit.
Absolutely, yeah.
With that,
it's crazy.
What do you? So if you were working in a restaurant but you weren't a chef, what would your job be?
If I was working in a restaurant but I wasn't a chef,
you can't be a chef.
I'd love to just I guess be a restaurant manager. If I'd want to run the show if I'm not the chef. You know what I mean? I'd want to run the show. I've actually I've bartended as well as and it's fun. I did enjoy bartending a lot just because of the chit chat and the people. It's fun making drinks. Actually, mixology is in itself a little bit like cooking, right?
Yeah.
And so that would be my other answer. Probably would just be to be a bartender at one of these bars that has these really cool drinks, because that is a little bit chefy in itself. It's flavor, it's all that stuff. So if I'm not running the restaurant, I would love to be behind.
That's a pretty good answer. I've done dishwashing. I've done back in my college days, busboy. Was it the prep cooking, which that was a horrible mistake, but they did stick. It wasn't my choice. They stuck me there. So that's pretty good. I went to a bar out in LA, and they bring in a bartender once a week, and you just go up and you tell him what mood you're in, and he fixes you a drink.
Okay.
You say, I'm feeling cranky today, and he fixes you a drink. Like, okay.
I went to a bar. I don't remember what it's called, but it was in New York City by this really famous chef. named Grant Achatz, who's a very
Okay.
famous award-winning chef in, I think his restaurant's in Chicago, but he opened a cocktail lounge in New York City, even though he doesn't
Yeah.
have a restaurant in New York. And it is like, I think the drinks were like between 30 and 40, $50
Oh,
a drink.
oh my
But
gosh.
it's like a show. Every drink is
Yeah.
like out there to a new level, like just things smoking and things in weird vessels that, I mean, it was like chemistry and cooking and art and science combined. It
That's
was
kind of amazing.
wild,
Yeah.
and you go there, you get one drink or whatever, because you're not going to sit there and spend
No,
$500
that's
on
right. That's
cocktails.
right. All right. I saw
Or
it.
maybe there's people who do, but I didn't. But it took, it took things to a new level. It really did. It kind of blew my mind. I don't know if I don't know if I've seen or heard of anything like it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. That's
um,
crazy. That's crazy.
yeah, it was cool. I think cocktails are a really cool art form in the
Yeah.
culinary world
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
own category, and it's definitely pretty cool.
Yeah. That's great. So what do you do outside of cooking? What do you do in your spare time? What interests do you have?
Is it bad if I say not much? 'Cause I'm doing
No,
this all the
not at
time.
all.
No, I love just trying to explore the new city that I'm living in.
Yeah.
Honestly, this may sound pre-COVID, my probably my favorite thing to do when I'm not in the kitchen is going and trying restaurants. So it's like I just love to eat. That's
I
probably my
like that.
favorite.
I
Yeah.
like it. You go in there and
Um,
you're writing stuff down. Oh, that was good. I'll write that down.
yeah, and just like I love exploring, kind of like traveling, but even if you're in your own city, if that makes sense. So kind of trying the weird, the weird spots, or like the underground Chinese restaurant that,
Yeah.
it's a door behind a door. Like I love all that stuff. Um, and here in Austin, they have some awesome like food truck scene that's
Yeah.
just incredible. There's some really cool stuff like
Some of
that.
those
So
food trucks do some amazing things.
yeah, and a lot of times like the food trucks here do better than the restaurants, and you'll see it's a pretty interesting culture here because there's food trucks on every corner. But I really do just love kind of exploring the food scene, and all that. But I play some piano. I like biking. Some of the
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
some
Did you
outdoor
do,
stuff.
did
But
you, when you were in high school, were you in a band or anything? Did
I was in
you,
the marching band. I'm really
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I was in the marching band and the regular band and choir. I love music. Actually, music is
Oh, that's
like
awesome. I thought, what was your
yeah. I
instrument?
love music.
What
Sorry,
instrument
what'd you
did you
say?
play? Yeah. What
Oh,
instrument?
trumpet and French horn.
Oh, very nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
you see,
trumpet and French horn.
now I've got children that have been in the band, and I didn't, I appreciate music, but I'm not musical. So I
Yeah,
didn't realize that if you can play the trumpet, you can probably play the French horn.
yeah,
You
they're
know,
connected.
I,
All the yeah. Now don't ask me to. I wouldn't know how to make a sound right now. It's been
I, we still
whatever
play
15.
piano.
I do. I have a little like electric piano in my house. I still play piano all the
Yeah,
time. I love it. I'm not as good as I used to be, but it's still a nice outlet.
yeah.
I
You
find it
gotta have
really
a break
relaxing.
once in a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I find it really relaxing. But I don't know. Music's really special. I think it has an amazing power. It was a big part of my childhood, to be
yeah.
honest. I wouldn't take it back for the world. So I'm glad to hear you got your kids in music, because
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
That's
is just amazing for the mind, the soul, and like the friendships they'll make. One of my closest friends here in Texas is a girl I met in band in ninth
oh, it's
grade.
great. And you're
And
right. That's I think the reason they love bands so much wasn't well, they loved the music, but it was really the friendships
yeah, it's the whole
that kept
thing.
them in it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's the
pretty
whole
amazing.
thing.
So I know we
Yeah.
need to wrap up. Is there is there I hit on I know I hit on the cauliflower. I had to find out about chimichurri because I love chimichurri. But is there? Give me another one. Give me something else that's kind of unique to your book.
Oh gosh, these are good questions.
I know there's
You
a
know,
ton in there.
I know I'm flipping through it right now. First of all, I would say the crab cakes are something everybody should try. The crab
Yes,
cakes
crab cakes. Let's
are,
talk crab cakes. I love crab.
I love crab cakes. They're kind of like, it's one of the favorite things that I make. And in my book, I actually kind of show people how to, you actually fry up bacon first and then cook the crab cakes in the bacon grease. So it's
Oh
just
my
like
gosh.
it takes it up a notch. And
What are
then you can
you
munch on the
using for
bacon.
the instead of breading?
Just not. There's just enough egg and mayo that it
Yeah.
doesn't need it. It doesn't need it. Like that, it just holds
Wow.
itself together. So the crab cakes are super simple. You got to try those.
Yeah,
Man, I
that sounds
love these.
gluten friendly. I could do those.
It is, the whole book is. There isn't a single recipe with gluten in the whole book.
I know you've inspired me to
Yeah.
at the minimum go low carb. I got to try this out again.
Yeah. I would say
I say that, and
this.
I'm not going to be the one cooking. I'm going to be like, hey, guess what you're getting for Christmas?
This one is tasty. It doesn't. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, what is that?
It's a cheesy Brussels sprout gratin, basically cheesy, creamy Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Next level. It is so good. These are those
awesome.
Mashed. The lighting is too strong, but
yeah, but they look like mashed potatoes.
It is. I'm telling you, it's mashed potatoes. I'm telling you. Yeah. Crab cakes. I have a whole roasted chicken recipe that's just really easy and really good. You coat the chicken in mayo, actually, which gives it this mayo and herbs. It gives this nice crispy skin. Oh man, there's a sun-dried, like a creamy sun-dried tomato chicken. Ooh. Delicious.
It's a shame you're not in the area anymore. I'd be coming over for dinner.
yeah, for sure. I'd love to cook for you.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, no, you can't go wrong. I think, I tried to put something for everybody, a little something for everybody in here. There's some kind of a lot of diversity in a few different things. You'll find different meats, different veggies, and hopefully
that's the part I love about it. It's a variety, and it's different things that you wouldn't have tried before. I love that.
Yeah, and beyond the book, like on Instagram, I'm constantly putting out fun, free recipes on Instagram that that honestly are like they get just as much love as what I put in my book. I don't want to put anything out, free or not, that's not awesome. So
that's awesome.
Instagram at Chef Michael Keto, I'm cranking out recipes, and that's also kind of where I share my daily stuff, behind the scenes stuff, and little tips and tricks that I do in my story. So definitely hop onto Instagram just to kind of follow my daily antics.
Yeah, for sure. And I did see some of your YouTube channel. You've got a really nice.
Yeah. I haven't used it as much as I should. Because of the book, it took me about a year to write it. So the last year, I really didn't get to in producing videos. Cooking videos takes a lot.
It takes some time. Yeah,
it's a thing for sure. And this last year, I really focused on my cookbook, which, by the way, if there was going to be a year where I was stuck in my house in quarantine, I might as well write a book.
Might as
well lock myself in anyway and just write and cook and test. And so that's kind of what I did. So all this year, I haven't been able to make many YouTube videos, but I hope to get back to that. I do some free classes on Zoom. About once a month, where I do cooking classes on Zoom. Again, that's all announced through Instagram. So cooking classes and recipes and all that stuff. Yeah, just catch me on Instagram at Chef.
That's awesome. So you mentioned you want to write more books. So what's the next one? Are you still following the same recipes, or are you switching to something else?
Good question. I've thought about that a lot. And I think this book was really about kind of modernizing and elevating keto food.
Yeah.
I also love creating comfort foods and things that are just kind of easy.
Now we're talking.
It's funny that, like, I guess option one is I kind of do another volume of this book where just a lot more awesome stuff in this direction, kind of with some creativity and some elevation, but still easy enough for anybody. Another side of me just like really wants to just make some, like, I don't know, really kind of down home comfort food and make those things keto.
Well, you're from the area. I mean, that's
and now in Texas, surrounded by barbecue and all this stuff, I'm just like, I'm finding new inspiration, because that's really like a big thing here in Austin. Like, on the East and the West Coast, I think like fancy restaurants are really big. In Texas, you have some fancy restaurants, but I'll tell you, the culture here is like some famous chef giving you food on a paper plate and you eat it on a picnic table outside of the food truck. And I think that's really kind of twisting my mind a little bit and making me want to try something else where, we're kind of embracing just like good comfort food and making it a little bit healthier, a little
I
bit,
love that.
keto and gluten free. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, right now, a book just came out. I got a long way to go before we're talking about a book too.
That's right. That's right.
But
You got to
yeah,
prepare.
I'd love to kind of see where the food takes me and just kind of keep kind of letting it ride wherever
That's
it
right.
goes.
Yeah. I mean, what a journey you've been on.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm having a
fantastic.
blast, and I'm really just enjoying sharing my food with people.
Yeah.
It's cool because, in restaurants, chefs get to share their food, physically watch people eat it.
Right.
But now with this writing and recipes on Instagram, it's different because I'm not cooking the food for them, but I'm seeing people make it at home.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing it at their family table with their kids, and people will send me a photo of like their kid and
Oh, that's great.
oh, my kid doesn't eat anything and he can't stop eating the X, Y, and Z. I'll tell you, like, it really surprised me how much that made me happy and like kind of satisfied
That's
my
awesome.
soul as a chef.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. It's a different modality than a traditional chef in that sense.
Right.
But I'm still making food for people, and I love that about it. So as long as that's what I'm doing, as long as I'm cooking and making food for people, I'm good wherever that takes me. Book
Oh,
2, a restaurant, I'm
yeah.
open to all of it.
Yeah, that's terrific. Michael, this has been the best. You are definitely the absolute best chef that's ever been on this program.
That is a
Number
really
one.
nice compliment. Thank you so much. Until next week's guest, I'll take my.
I don't know. They're gonna have a hard. This is a tough act to follow. I'm hungry. All you did for the last 45 minutes is make me hungry. I have.
Well, then I did my job.
So where can we find the book?
Book is really any of your major booksellers.
Okay.
So Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Target.com, Walmart.com. And then, of course, if you want to, which I think anybody should right now, especially this year, support local. If you go to indiebooks.com, you can find your book at your local bookstores, your independent bookstores. So right now, these local stores, I mean, Amazon, obviously we need it right now. It's convenient and it's a game changer. But if you can, a lot of those local bookstores will still ship. So you don't have to go in, especially if you live somewhere in lockdown or whatever. But supporting local right now, not just for my book, but for anything, is really an amazing thing to do. And get some takeout as much as you can afford. It's funny that I'm saying that because I want people to cook at home, but man, our local restaurants are hurting right now. So anybody who can go grab some takeout from a local restaurant, we need it. This industry needs it right now.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me.
And being our first chef. Amazing. You did
first
great.
And only. I'll be really upset if you bring another chef.
I want to say, well, you can come on the program, but you can't talk about food.
Fair enough. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. So we've got your Instagram, we've got YouTube, we've got the book. Anything else that we missed? Is there anywhere else that they can find you? Okay.
Grab yourself a copy. You guys will not regret.
I'm getting mine as soon as we're done. All right, Michael, hold on one second.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Hold on just. How fun was that? Our first chef, and he was such a great guy. I knew he would be. I knew, even though he's from Pittsburgh and they're technically a West Virginia rival, I knew he was going to be great, and he was. He was terrific. I love the fact that he's taking a diet that so many people are trying, and he's putting some recipes out there that are tasty and different and kind of unique. And I tried keto and actually didn't hate it. It's good for you. It definitely, I think, can improve your health, but you get so tired of the food over time. So this, please go out there and check out the cookbook. Is New Keto Cooking. I don't think you'll be disappointed. He was terrific. I hope we can have him back. I had the best time. Thank you guys so much for spending a little bit of time with us. You guys, you keep coming back week after week. So happy with that. Appreciate it so much. If you would, if you are new to the program, please find us on Facebook under MeisterCon. Give us a like. Check out our YouTube channel. You can see all of our video interviews. Sometimes we'll just get together and talk about nerdy stuff that we enjoy. You can check that out there as well. It's YouTube, MeisterCon Pod. You can find us on our website. It's got all the interviews, audio and video, under meistercon.com. Brett has a terrific blog on there that is just the best, and you can find that as well. And finally, if you are interested in helping the podcast, we just purchased the building for our studio. We're actually operating in it, but we're still renovating. So we can definitely use the help. If you like what we're doing, you want to help out, you can go to patreon.com/MeisterCon. We'll give you some free material and some bonus stuff for your trouble. Thank you guys so much. This has just been a blast. So until next time, bye.